Okay, I'm going to ask a quick question of Bob if I could, because I think it has some relevance here. I asked you this on the air the other day. Why are Republicans so much better at messaging than Democrats?
What did Will Rogers say?
Well, you're all willing to stay until midnight. The Democratic umbrella is very broad, very wide, very inclusive. We used to call them mole-weevil Democrats. They're now blue dog Democrats, and they're modern Democrats. And there used to be liberal Democrats. There are a few left, but you know, it's amazing how wide the Democratic Party is. If the Democrats lose the Senate next year, it's unbelievable, but I don't think they can hold 41 senators together to keep the filibuster, even if the filibuster remains. The Republicans started out to be pretty disorganized, but starting about 1980, there was a civil marriage between Ronald Reagan and the Christian right. The Christian right, the televangelist, said, if you send us $1, we'll pray for you. They were really more interested in the name and address of the person that they were going to pray for. And they made a coupling with the Reagan campaign to make Reagan the Christian president, and Jimmy Carter they also ran. Now, I have to say, even those conservatives in the 1980s were far more liberal than the conservatives that you see today. But I think the danger point came in 1994. I've known Newt Gingrich since 1977, and in 1994, when he took over as the majority leader of the House, had the contract on America, or for America, whichever it was, he brought a lot of one-issue Republicans that moved the Republican Party to the right of Jesse Helms. The Democrats came in and filled in that space, so the ideological middle actually moved to the pretty far right. And then they took on a whole bunch of issues like Jim Wright on the book deal earlier to bring Newt Gingrich to the fore. They then went after the impeachment issue, and the partisanship has just divided our nation terribly. My best friends when I was in Congress were Jake Javits from New York, John Hines, Dick Schweiker, Charles Percy, and probably 75 to 100 modern Republicans from across the country who cared about women's rights and human rights and children's rights and people's rights. Those people, the John Danforths, have disappeared from the collective conversation in Washington. And that's what we've got to get back. We've got to get public officials who are elected. In Connecticut, just a plug for public financing, after a couple governors ago, he got his fingers caught in the cookie jar, the legislature passed our public financing system. In the '08 election, 74% of the candidates, Democratic and Republican, used public financing with no special interest money. 81% of them got elected. And from '08 to '10, the Connecticut legislature still had lobbyists. After all the reforms, still had lobbyists. But the lobbyists could only come with their talking points and not with their checkbooks. That's the kind of government we need. We need the lobbyists to go back to talking points and not this toxic cocktail of money and lobbyists.
I think there was up in the center aisle there's another question.
My name is Dave Meinel. I'm the president of the Missouri Alliance for Retired Americans. There's a very good DVD out. It's called Koch brothers Exposed. It will show you everything that they're trying to instill on you now. It shows how the Koch brothers have funded ALEC, everything that they said up there. The only problem is I can't show it in meetings because it's 70 minutes long. But you can find copies of it. It comes with a 5-page, two-sided critique, and it shows you what's happening to all of us by these billionaires, what they're doing to us. Do you know where the Koch family got their money? Where? No. Stalin bought old man Coke to Russia, and he got all of that money from the Russians to come here and do what to us. Now don't take my word for it. Please, find that DVD. Koch brothers exposed. Watch it. Don't keep it a secret. Pass it on. Get it to everybody you can. Everyone in this room, make 10 copies and get it to 10 people with the same speech. Pass it to 10. Maybe we can wake up the country. Thank you.
We have a good response here.
I want to put the Koch brothers on a diet. Things don't go better with Coke.
Another question right over here.
Hi, my name is Barbara Woodard, and I'm Secretary of Stonewall Democrats. And I'd like to respond to you, and Bob, you probably remember history better than I do. I believe the term royalist was used before by a former president, and that president was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who faced much of the same things that we're facing right now. He didn't get what he had wanted to accomplish in the first term. And I want to say this because this is really important, and I'm going to say it. We need to give our president re-elected for a second term. Just like this. Everything we tried to do at the time, very similar to now of the recession and the depression. Obama was going to get so much accomplished in a second term. We need a Senate. And heaven forbid, a nice majority in the House would be wonderful. But at least the Senate and him back in the White House, so it was used before.
All right, do I see any more hands? Way over here.
I think I can speak about my part.
You surely can.
Gail Murphy, and I have a question for Mr. Easton. You said that ALEC was formed as a charitable group. What are their charities? What are they doing for charity?
It's, I got a little bit in the weeds today on another radio station. We got tangled up in talking about 501c3s and 501c4 organizations. Common Cause is both. We were a 501c4 from the day that John Gardner founded us. And if you give a contribution to Common Cause, I'm going to answer your question, just do it in a second. If you give a contribution to us and you say Common Cause, you can take that off on your income tax. Because we're a lobbying organization. We have staff in 22 states. We lobby. But if you give a contribution to Common Cause Education Fund, that funds our research, that funds a number of projects. We did a fracking study, not on the issue of fracking so much as the money that was involved in fracking. That, under the IRS provisions, is a tax-deductible operation. But you've got to keep the money separate, you've got to keep the accounting separate. What ALEC has done for 30 years, it has filed as a charity, just like the American Red Cross is filed as a charity, just like the United Way is filed as a charity. And that means the corporations get tax relief for the money that they give, and even the legislators who give their membership dues, a portion of that, they can get tax relief for. They don't give any money to children or to homeless. It's not that kind of a charity. It's the tax code that allows them to, in a sense, commit tax fraud because they're taking your taxpayer resources and using it to lobby and to use all of the lobbying tools. So what Common Cause did is we simply went to the IRS with a whistleblower complaint and 4,000 documents and said, prove you're a charity. These 4,000 documents show us that 70% of what you do is lobbying, hardcore lobbying. You got to stop it. You may be fined. And corporations that stay with ALEC and continue to take tax deduction for their contributions to ALEC could be held for millions of dollars of tax program.
But in their charter, weren't they required to state a charitable purpose?
All they're required to do in the tax code is to state their charitable, whether they're a charity or a lobbyist. In their charter, they probably do have something that states their charitable work, but their charitable, the language in their charter doesn't match the practice that they do.
Okay, so your answer is you don't know.
No, I do know that ALEC says it does zero lobbying and it is a charity. I say it does zero charity and is a 70% lobbyist.
Byron, did you want to?
I just wanted to say, when we're talking about separation of funds and mingling of funds, there was a, maybe some of you saw this, it was a photo that's related to ALEC once again. It was after the election. This was in the New York Times. And it's the union thug theme that we touched on a little bit, but you need to know this. We segregate our COPE monies, our political education monies, from our union dues. We never spend union dues on any political education. You need to know that. That's one of the big lies. And they even get some of our members confused about that kind of thing. We are not allowed to by law. And so each of us have a separate COPE committee that does legislative stuff, and it's completely separate from union dues. But
and you guys are regulated by the Department of Labor as well on those funds.
And I have to say, when we talk about, some of you have seen this chart before, this is the funding up in Wisconsin, and it doesn't need to be huge for you to get it and understand it. Most of the money for Scott Walker, including $50,000 for Rex Sinfeld again, was outside monies. So this was not a game between unions, the corporations versus the unions. Look how much of this money came from outside against Scott Walker. It's a very small amount. So you see what this is about. And the figure has been said that it was about $30 million, but we now know it was possibly $75 million with all the super PAC monies and hidden funds. And so we saw what happened, and still, I think we won the Senate. But
Yeah, we did.
yeah, one more thing, and I'll be quiet again. Another graph I just got today. This traces the fortunes of the middle class and the fortunes of how many union members there are. And
No one can see it. Can you tell us what it says?
and you can almost see it from there. The red line is income and how some people have done very well, and the decline of unions here, and the middle class is gone. The middle class is missing. So it's no accident when they come after firefighters' pensions and teachers and public employees first, and postal workers. You know, it was an outrageous idea that people were laughing at Barry Goldwater when he mentioned privatizing the postal service. That was a joke then. People thought that was a radical, crazy idea. And here we are. It's no accident to see a FedEx box in front of a postal station. That's crazy. That's a non-union entity that's in competition with the postal service.
We're going to coming very close to having to draw this to a close. Harvey, how much longer do you want to continue the questions? Are there any more questions?
No.
2 more questions.